pride. We also have a wide selection of pet accessories and treats. Let us be your new favorite store. We look forward to seeing you.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor. From the Great Northwoods to the Rock Mount Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, a car remains wrecked inside an Old Town home this morning after a high-speed police chase. Plus, a major announcement from the U.S. Postal Service as they've decided not to consolidate processing to southern Maine. And good news for commuters. Those gas prices continue to drop. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith and thank you for tuning in this morning. It's another hot summer feeling day. It's pretty dry outside and it does appear like the temperatures are going to begin to drop as the week goes on. But let's get a check of that forecast with the expert meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. Your morning weather is brought to you by Washington County Community College in Calais. Check out the new aquaculture technology program. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, we do have some areas of dense fog greeting us this morning across parts of Washington County, a little bit up in parts of the northern parts of the state too, and also northwest. We'll lose a lot of that today as we do move forward and we get some sunshine going. For now, though, we look rather quiet out there. Not much cloud cover to be seen, but we will be watching for some more clouds that will be moving in later on today. Otherwise, the rest of the Northeast looking rather quiet, but notice the clouds here developing further down to the south, especially from this system here that will be moving in our direction, and that will allow some more clouds to move in coming up later on today. So futurecast moving forward, a lot of sunshine to start, more clouds later this afternoon, and we'll have a few clouds and some areas of dense fog on the way later on tonight. As for the winds, not too bad, roughly at around 5 to 10 miles per hour, maybe a few higher gusts at times, but no issues with the wind otherwise coming up anytime soon. Forecast for today, partly cloudy and warm, highs in the mid 80s, and that west wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Coming up for tonight, we have upper 50s, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog, with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a lot of sunshine, some clouds for the afternoon with temperatures in the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. We'll get another look at that 5-day forecast a little later on. Well, first thing this morning, on Sunday night, an Old Town man crashed into a Milford residence after the sheriff's office says he tried to ram a deputy's vehicle from behind. Our Doug Banks spoke with the homeowner who says he and his neighbors are thankful to walk away alive.
There's actually a car inside that house and half a telephone.
Occupants of 120 Main Road in Milford on Monday are displaced after an Old Town man lost control of his truck, struck a telephone pole, and crashed into their home. According to the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office, it began at 10 o'clock Sunday night when a deputy traveling south on Route 2 in Milford noticed a truck driven by 41-year-old Albert Harnois closing in from behind at a high rate of speed and called for backup.
Maybe coming through town, I got a vehicle right on my 6. If you could stop it for me.
Moments later,
144, go ahead.
Vehicle's trying to ram me.
The sheriff's office says after the deputy made an invasive move, the truck passed on the right side, lost control, and left the roadway, striking a utility pole before crashing into the apartment complex.
Vehicle fire. Vehicle's on fire.
On his front porch from across the street, Peter Prince witnessed the horrific crash.
It sounded like a bomb going off. I didn't think he was alive. I really didn't, because I didn't see any way possible he could have survived that because the truck flipped, then went in the house.
Paul Rudolph lived in the upstairs unit of 120 Main Road.
And then all of a sudden, he was right under my bedroom, and actually I could hear him yelling from the car, asking for someone to get him out.
Yeah, they're dragging him out of the truck.
Rudolph says nobody who was inside the apartment at the time was hurt.
This could have turned out a lot worse, and just happy that we're all okay.
According to the sheriff's office, Harnois was taken to the hospital with a minor head injury, and during his mental health evaluation, he assaulted hospital staff. Harnois' charges include assault, aggravated criminal mischief, reckless conduct, and driving to endanger. In Milford, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A Guilford woman who was convicted of embezzling hundreds of thousands of dollars from the company she worked for learned how long she could spend behind bars. Terry Moulton was in a Piscataquis County courtroom yesterday where a judge sentenced her to 9 years in prison with all but 4 years suspended for theft and the same sentence for forgery. She'll also serve 3 years probation following her incarceration. Moulton was a bookkeeper at DeWitt Machine Fabrication in Medford for more than 12 years, during which time she embezzled hundreds of thousands of dollars via forged checks, extra payrolls, and inappropriate use of the company credit card. The judge said he felt the sentence needed to send a warning about the penalties such offenses carry.
I'm pleased that my client has been released on bail pending appeal. I think we have very significant issues on appeal to pursue, and we look forward to going through that process. We appreciate the consideration by the judge. The sentence is high, but a little less than what the state was asking for.
You know, the judge had to balance different aspects of this case, and I think what he did was fair and just. He certainly realized the significant impact that this had had on the DeWitt family and the breach of trust that Ms. Moulton engaged in.
Other conditions of the sentence include no contact with the DeWitt family, and Moulton must pay restitution, though it's unclear how much she will ultimately pay. The defense has already filed a notice to appeal the conviction for now, so Moulton is out on post-conviction bail. In other news, a Sangerville woman will spend 3 years in jail for her part in a fatal crash. Tricia Labrie of Sangerville was sentenced yesterday on manslaughter and criminal OUI charges in connection with a crash that killed her passenger. According to Piscataquis County District Attorney Christopher Almy, 42-year-old Tricia Labrie had been at a bar with a friend in July of last year. He says they left together with Labrie driving and were heading towards Dexter when Labrie lost control and the car left the roadway, crashing into Black Stream, landing upside down. Passenger Lori Jewell was killed.
She was totally intoxicated. She drove south on Route 7 here in Dover-Foxcroft, lost control of her car. It flipped over 3 times into a stream, and her passenger and friend died drowned in the car.
Labrie was sentenced to 9 years in prison with all but 3 years suspended. In other news now, an inmate formerly from Holden has passed away at the Mountain View Correctional Facility. 56-year-old Craig Pelkey died just before 11:30 a.m. on Sunday. Commissioner Randall Liberty says his death was attended by medical personnel. Earlier this year, Pelkey began serving 7 years of concurrent sentences for aggravated assault, aggravated trafficking of scheduled drugs, and illegal possession of a firearm. His earliest possible release date was December of 2028. A major announcement from the U.S. Postal Service regarding the mail processing facility in Hamden and proposed changes that would have severely impacted mail delivery in our region. Previously proposed changes would have seen processing for local mail rerouted through the Scarborough facility, creating the possibility of major delivery delays. Well, that plan is no more. A new plan from the Postal Service means processing for local mail will stay in the Hamden facility, and no one is slated for layoff. As part of the new Delivering for America plan, savings from other changes USPS is making will mean local mail processing stays in Hamden. In fact, the plan is actually channeling $12.1 million into the Hamden processing facility, so the center will now offer express services and accept bulk and permit mail. Additionally, while possible layoffs were part of the previous proposal, under the new plan there are no anticipated impacts to employees. They also say with a focus on package processing and shipping capacity, it's possible that increased plant activity could mean the need for more staff. The Postal Service says the changes will take effect after election and peak season. Well, it's one of the darkest days in Maine history. The Lewiston mass shooting killed 18 people. A tragedy that a special state commission found could have been prevented. Brad Rogers looks at legislation introduced yesterday by Senator Susan Collins that would require the armed forces to take an active role in crisis intervention programs like Maine's Yellow Flag Law.
Robert Card's Army Reserve Unit commanders took a great deal of blame for the deadly mass shooting committed by Card, for not taking his guns away and for not taking steps to get him the help he needed.
People knew this was going to happen, and nobody stopped it. The system failed everybody here.
CARD's commanders told the Lewiston Commission they were not authorized to seize CARD's guns. They say the police and courts had that responsibility.
Did you do anything to enforce the order?
I did not.
Senator Collins says her new federal legislation would remove any doubt that the military must comply with the state's yellow or red flag laws.
We want to lessen the chances that this kind of mass shooting will happen in another community because of a failure to communicate and cooperate.
Captain Jeremy Reamer also admitted he never followed up on CARD's mental health treatment as Army regulations required.
Was to supervise him to follow up with that, yes. I personally did not follow up with him.
The senator's bill would also require the armed forces to participate in a state's crisis intervention programs and judicial proceedings, provided they protect the Second Amendment and due process rights of service members.
Members of our armed forces are not immune from mental illness. State crisis intervention programs should be fully utilized by our military.
CARD's guns were never seized under Maine's yellow flag law, and he never got the medical help he needed.
This tragedy was caused by a colossal failure of human judgment. There are a number of things that might well have changed the course of this tragic history.
Had Maine's yellow flag law been triggered, perhaps we could have avoided this horrible tragedy.
And that was Brad Rogers reporting. The person tapped to lead Maine's largest bureaucracy faced tough questions in her confirmation hearing. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard was there and spoke with the nominee and committee members to learn more.
It is an honor to be nominated, and I am keenly aware of the responsibilities that come with this appointment.
I'm grateful for the support that the committee has shown me.
Sarah Gagne-Holmes is no stranger to the Department of Health and Human Services, having served in leadership within the department for the past 5 years. Most recently, she served as a deputy commissioner before assuming the interim and acting commissioner role. She faced tough questions Monday from members of the Health and Human Services Committee about her plans to lead the department.
Well, I'm confident in her leadership, but that doesn't mean there aren't problems. In my statement to her, I listed several issues that are going to have to be addressed. The federal lawsuit regarding civil rights issues for disabled children, the child protective system, which are two major statewide issues.
Senator Baldacci adds he will continue to press Gagne-Holmes on keeping Dorothea Dix open and helping with the statewide homeless problem. He also says he has confidence in the answers she provided and her ability to lead the department. Gagne-Holmes didn't win over every member of the committee, with 2 members voting not to recommend her as commissioner. One of those members is Representative Michael Lemelin.
My concern is that she's been in the department for the last 5 years, and she has plenty of opportunity to fix a lot of the problems, and I haven't seen that. So my concern is that everything's going to stay the same. There might be minor changes here or there, but not significantly enough to eliminate the issues at hand.
One thing that was brought up numerous times during the confirmation hearings is that time is running out in the current administration. With just over 2 years left in the governor's term, is that enough time to make meaningful progress on the many problems facing DHHS?
Absolutely. I think the issues that we discussed today have been addressed. We have been working and making progress moving forward to implement the initiatives and to address the concerns that have been raised, but these are not simple issues. They're complex, they take time.
Gagne-Holmes will now face a vote in the Senate before she is officially confirmed as the commissioner for the Department of Health and Human Services. At the State House, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
2nd Congressional District candidate Austin Theriault made a stop in Bangor yesterday to celebrate the grand opening of the new GOP field office. Theriault says the office on Hammond Street serves as a hub for Mainers who want to volunteer to support Republican candidates on the ballot.
And they just want to come and whether it's filling out envelopes or making phone calls, it can be something very simple, but it's a way for people to come together.
The new GOP field office is located at 23 Hammond Street in Bangor. School safety is a top priority around the country. Practicing lockdown drills or emergency evacuations has become routine for all students. Here in Maine, we saw the start of this school year delayed in some districts due to threats. Our Jody Hersey sat down with Brewer's superintendent and public safety director, who say keeping schools safe comes down to one thing: preparation.
What I don't want is for people to be afraid. And to some degree, that's the stated objective of those calls, emails, online threats.
The Brewer School Department is proactive when it comes to school safety. Officials couldn't share all the details of the safety plans in place, but it's a set of protocols that school staff, students, and police routinely familiarize themselves with.
So we have an SRO in each school. We're very lucky for that. And they regularly review plans with staff. We do this on an annual basis, actually, or even as needed.
Brewer's superintendent of schools, Greg Palmer, says school emergencies do not always revolve around school shootings.
Often the reports we get are circulate around students who might be in danger of self-harm. It's not always about someone coming in to hurt people in schools. It's about other things as well.
Each situation, whether it be a shooting threat, a fire, or a medical emergency, requires a different safety procedure.
In my opinion, the simpler you can keep it and keep everybody on the same page, the more effective it's going to be.
Both Palmer and Moffitt say being prepared is key.
You could ask me any day of the school year, where's the safest place in our community to be? And my answer is always the same: it's at school.
In Brewer, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, the time now is 8:16. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, coordinators were invited to the Hall of Flags to be honored for all the work they do, helping bring resources into the schools. We'll hear all about it, but before we go, let's take another quick look at that forecast. Warm, partly cloudy today, another summer-like day, highs in the mid-80s for your Tuesday. Dropping down to a low of 57 overnight, some fog is going to move in and some more cloud cover. Wednesday, we'll see increasing cloud cover, highs of around 83 degrees. We'll be right back.
With his first vote in Congress.
His very first vote, Austin Terrio will put leaders in power hell-bent on
taking healthcare away from working Mainers.
Letting insurance companies charge us more for health care.
Cutting Medicare and Social Security benefits that we earn.
Terrio skipped work, but he still took his paycheck from taxpayers.
I think it's criminal.
Highway robbery.
I'm against Austin Terrio because he's against working people.
No-show Terrio will never work for Maine.
HMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
You can feel it when your dream becomes a pursuit. And with vitiligo, the pursuit for your pigment is no exception. It's time you had a proven choice to help restore what's yours. Opzelura is the first and only FDA-approved prescription treatment for non-segmental vitiligo. Proven to help repigment skin over time, restoring what's yours. It's possible with a steroid-free cream that you can apply yourself.
Opzelura can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB or hepatitis B or C. Serious lung infections, skin cancer, blood clots, and low blood cell counts occurred with Opzelura. In people taking JAK inhibitors, serious infections, increased risk of death, lymphoma, other cancers, and major cardiovascular events have occurred. The most common side effects were acne and itching where applied.
Repigmentation is possible. Ask your dermatologist today about starting or refilling Opzelura. Pursue it.
This is more than just a job.
We save people.
Go!
This is the most dangerous beach in the world. We got this, but we have to do it together. All of us.
Hurry! Good thing we're not in it for the glory.
If you've put gas in your car recently, you've probably noticed prices that you haven't seen in quite a while. According to Gas Buddy's survey, prices fell more than 8 cents a gallon last week to an average of $3.20 a gallon. That's more than 20 cents a gallon lower than a month ago and more than 61 cents cheaper than a year ago. That's good news. All right, in other news, Woodlands Senior Living has been an assisted living provider for more than 44 years. And today, they offer 10 locations across the state. Just last month, their Brewer location was officially accredited by the nationwide independent agency, the Joint Commission. Managing members Matthew Walters say now all 10 of their locations are officially accredited, making them the first assisted living community to obtain this achievement in Maine.
It's not so much that we can do anything differently, it's just it's an outward validation of the fact that we're meeting or exceeding really the strictest standards in the industry.
Walters says there are around 700 residents in their care. Governor Mills has announced funding for 12 new lands for Maine's future conservation projects across the state. A statement says they'll preserve thousands of acres of farmland, undeveloped land, and vital working waterfront access for generations to come. The new projects include the Piper Farm and Williams Farm in Somerset County. The two projects span more than 2,500 acres, preserved in support of a large dairy operation. Hancock Marine and the Stonington Lobster Cooperative will both have land preserved as part of working waterfront access protection. Branch Lake Extension in the city of Ellsworth will also see a little over 279 acres protected as part of recreation projects. All right, moving on now. This week is Community School Coordinators Appreciation Week, a time that encourages schools and community partners to honor and celebrate their school coordinators. At the State House, coordinators from around the state gathered in the Hall of Flags and were recognized for their work. Julie Smith, the director of the Office of Student and School Support for the Maine Department of Education, says these coordinators help to serve as the liaison between the school and their community.
Right now we have administrators, teachers, counselors who are working so hard to bring resources into the schools. That working that hard means it takes away from teaching and learning. Yet if we hire a community school coordinator to be that liaison, to be that partner with administrators and teachers, and to partner with outside resources, think of the possibilities of what that can do. Administrators can focus on their educational personnel, teachers can focus on their students, and that community school coordinator can bring in the food, the medical attention, work with outside agencies to make sure that everybody gets what they need when they need it.
This is the 8th year community school coordinators have been celebrated nationally and the 3rd year in Maine. All right, the time now is 8:22. After the break, California firefighters are battling flames all across the state as fires rip through the west. We'll have all the details after the break.
Meet Stacy at Sheer Haven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
Washington works for the wealthy and elites in places like New York City, while leaving us behind.
Congress is broken. It's not getting the job done. We need both parties to work together to lower electric bills, stop the flow of fentanyl, end the Biden-Harris inflation, and protect Social Security.
Congress should work for us. We must bring balance to Washington and put people over politics.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
The longest lasting brand.
For best value, go with the longest lasting brand, Toyota. And at the Toyota Best Value event, you can get a Tundra, the longest lasting half-ton truck with 1.99 financing, including hybrid and gas models. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
The longest lasting brand.
So for a vehicle with long-lasting value, see your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Are your gutters weighed down by debris causing them to sag and overflow? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. Clogged gutters lead to costly repairs for your home, so skip the cleaning and stop the clogs with Gutter Shutter. Gutter Shutter, the world's best gutter, is a high-performance gutter with a lifetime no-clog guarantee. Stop the clutter, get Gutter Shutter. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Meet Stacy at Sheer Haven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Firefighters are battling 3 separate wildfires in California this week. Fox News chief correspondent Jonathan Hunt is in Los Angeles with the latest.
Firefighting efforts in Southern California are getting a much-needed boost from Mother Nature. Officials say increased humidity, lower temperatures, and rain are helping firefighters gain ground against 3 separate wildfires.
We're being helped by the weather, and that weather will continue for a couple of days, so we're making good progress.
More than 8,000 personnel have been fighting the fires across multiple fronts. The largest, the Bridge Fire, which exploded in the Angeles National Forest east of LA last week, has burned dozens of buildings and forced more than 10,000 people to evacuate.
Couldn't even see the neighbor's house from the smoke, it was so thick.
In the San Bernardino Mountains, the Line Fire continues to burn. Officials say the fire was just over 1/3 contained as of Sunday. A delivery driver has been arrested and charged with deliberately starting the fire. In Orange and Riverside counties, the airport fire also continues to burn. That fire was started by a spark from heavy equipment. Crews say in each of these fires, their work is made much tougher by the mountainous landscape.
Again, very challenging terrain in there, cliff faces and granite and things that we just can't go quickly on.
And even with the cooler temperatures, officials warned that with so much dry vegetation in the wake of a long, hot summer, the risk of more fires remains high. In Los Angeles, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
All right, the time now is 8:26. Let's get a look at our local forecast with meteorologist Evan Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your morning weather is brought to you by Washington County Community College in Calais. Check out the new aquaculture technology program. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, here we go. Some areas of dense fog greeting us this morning across parts of Washington County. Areas further off towards the north noticing a little bit as well. And even across the northwestern parts of the state. That will be going away as we get some sunshine rolling later on today. But otherwise, so nothing too ridiculous on the way right now. A lot of clear skies. We're going to see a lot of sunshine across our neck of the woods today. Meanwhile, further down to the south, look at the system here that continues to bring a lot of showers and thunderstorms along parts of North Carolina. It's going to be sending some clouds in our direction, so we will see some increasing clouds coming up in general, coming up a little bit today and tonight, but especially as we head towards tomorrow. But otherwise, outside of that system, there's some more activity across the northern parts of the U.S. that's kind of developing right now, and some more activity tracking off towards the east. But futurecast moving forward for us, nothing too ridiculous on the way for us today. We will be under a partly cloudy sky as we get some more clouds going for the afternoon. Later on tonight, a few clouds, areas of dense fog on the way. With tomorrow, though, increasing clouds as we watch some more energy moving in as well. But despite that, we will be staying dry the entire week. There's no precipitation on the way at all. Just some clouds passing through, and that looks to be about it, especially by Thursday morning as well. Our average high temperature is 71 degrees. We'll do mid-80s today, lower 80s Wednesday into Thursday. We're back in the low 70s Friday and Saturday with some more 60s. Here we go. Really cooling off now Sunday and also near Monday, starting to feel like fall across our neck of the woods. And the dew points will start to fall back down too. Notice though, at least 2 parts of Thursday, dew points will be in the 50s and 60s, but they really begin to fall Friday and beyond. So hopefully we'll be done with the muggy meter very shortly. And it's definitely starting to feel a little bit more like fall out there and look like it too. We have some areas showing some colors right now. This is according to Explore Fall, and it's showing some areas with low color right now and a few spots with a little bit more colors. So we're starting to notice some of that across our neck of the woods. So a forecast for today, middle 80s, feeling more like summer, partly cloudy and warm, and that west wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Later on tonight, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog, lows in the upper 50s with the wind overall looking nice and calm. And for tomorrow, lower 80s, increasing clouds, southwest wind getting up to around 5 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Washington County Community College, showing a mostly cloudy sky on Thursday with highs in the low 80s, lower 70s. We cool off on Friday with a mostly cloudy sky, partly cloudy Saturday with highs in the low 70s.
I'm a Republican.
I'm a Republican.
A Maine Republican.
Not one of those Washington Republicans like Mike Johnson.
They want to slash Social Security and Medicare.
And raise the retirement age to 70.
They handpicked Austin Terrio to run for Congress.
And they'll control him in Washington.
But Jared Golden works for us.
Jared will stand up to both parties to protect Maine seniors.
We can trust Jared. He fights for us.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message. Whether you have a $15,000 fender bender or a surgery case worth $1 million, call the Twos.
Thankfully, my accident wasn't too serious, but I called the Twos, and Lowry and Associates still got me over $21,000.
My wife needed neck surgery after a bad accident. We called the Twos, and Lowry and Associates got her $1 million.
Big cases and small, we handle them all. Call us. We win for you.
I have prepared a Thomas's breakfast for you to savor together.
Thanks, Tom. Hey, are English muffins from England?
Heavens no. They're from the pantry.
Are you from England?
Nay, I am also from the pantry. Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
Up in Smoke Fireworks is family-owned with a huge selection including Brothers and Showtime, Time Bandit, and Black Hat brands. We will share our knowledge with you, then go have a blast. Up in Smoke Fireworks, 173 West Main Street, Searsport.
Backed by popular demand, the Lucerne Inn in Dedham presents its amazing Sunday brunch. Join us every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for a culinary experience like no other. Indulge in an exquisite selection of dishes, all while enjoying breathtaking views. Seating is limited, so reservations are recommended, but walk-ins are always welcome. The Lucerne Inn Sunday Brunch, where great food meets a spectacular view. Call today to reserve your spot.
Footage recorded on Monday shows a Hawaiian home linked to the man authorities say plotted to assassinate former President Donald Trump on his golf course. The suspect, 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Ruth, was charged with 2 gun-related crimes in federal court on Monday, a day after being spotted with a rifle hiding in the bushes at the former U.S. president's golf course in Florida. The U.S. Secret Service opened fire after an agent saw a rifle barrel poking out of the bushes on Sunday at the golf course in West Palm Beach, a few hundred yards away from where the former president was playing. The gunman fled in a sports utility vehicle, according to the complaint. Officials found a loaded assault-style rifle with a scope, a digital camera, and a plastic bag of food left behind. Ruth was arrested about 40 minutes later driving north on Interstate 95. The license plate on his vehicle had been reported stolen from another car. Records show a phone associated with Ruth was located at the golf course starting at 1:59 on Sunday morning. Ruth has at least 2 prior convictions, both in North Carolina, according to the criminal complaint. In other news, Governor Greg Abbott is raising new alarms about one particular group of undocumented immigrants. He describes how organized criminals from Venezuela are terrorizing people in his state and elsewhere. This comes just 1 week after congressional testimony from the mother of a 12-year-old girl who was allegedly murdered by 2 undocumented immigrants. Fox News correspondent Brooke Taylor reports from Dallas.
In downtown El Paso, a frantic scene as residents piled boxes of clothes into trucks after the Gateway Hotel forced to shut down. Luis Garciela says the crime there is far worse than anyone can imagine.
I got my door kicked in and got robbed a couple times. Well, they said call the police, but, pretty much they're not going to do anything.
Police blame the spike in crime on Tren de Aragua gang members living at the hotel. Texas Governor Greg Abbott today signing a proclamation declaring the Venezuela-based gang a foreign terrorist organization, a move aimed to stop the violence.
TDA is notorious for their brutal violence and murder, and their kidnapping, extortion, bribery, and trafficking of drugs, weapons, and even humans. I directed DPS to elevate TDA to a Tier 1 gang.
The gang members are known to have specific tattoos that officers rely on when identifying TDA members. It's not just a Texas problem. The gang has spread throughout the United States. In the spring, the New York Post capturing a group of over 100 illegal migrants rushing the border wall, breaking through razor wire and knocking over guards. Governor Abbott says at least 100 people arrested have TDA ties. And recently in Aurora, Colorado, security footage went viral, showing armed men breaking into apartments. Law enforcement has said they believe some of the men have ties to Tren de Aragua. And Governor Greg Abbott says that the TDA is also linked to that brutal attack on NYPD officers near Times Square in New York earlier this year. In total, he says there's about 100 investigations right now throughout the country linked to this TDA gang. In Dallas, I'm Brooke Taylor, Fox News.
And coming up on the second half of the newscast, some southern dogs displaced by Hurricane Francine have found a shelter to lay their head here in Maine. We'll see how they're settling in as Good Morning Maine continues.
What do you call a no-show at work?
A deadbeat.
Someone who'd jack up costs for seniors.
Dead wrong.
What do you call both?
Austin Terrio.
Terrio skipped work, still took his paycheck. Now he wants to go to Congress. But there he'll give power to politicians who want to cut the Social Security and Medicare Mainers earned. Then let big insurance charge seniors 5 times more for care. No-show, Terrio?
No way.
Just no. HMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith, and today is September 17th, 2024, and today is National Constitution Day. On September 17th of 1787, the 39 delegates of the Constitutional Convention signed the most influential document in American history, the U.S. Constitution, which outlines the government's powers, the limitations on those powers, and the rights of citizens. It also outlines an amendment process for making changes in the future. This day honors the document that guarantees Americans their essential rights, serving as a basis for all U.S. laws. Okay, now for some other history. On this day in 1849, American abolitionist and social activist Harriet Tubman escaped from the southern plantation where she was enslaved, and later led other enslaved people to freedom in the North, along the route of the Underground Railroad. 13 years later, in 1862, Union forces halted the Confederate advance on Maryland during the Battle of Antietam. The battle resulted in more than 26,000 casualties, which was one of the bloodiest days of the American Civil War. In 1926, on this day, famed Mexican artist Frida Kahlo was severely injured in a bus accident, and during her recovery, she began painting. Soon after, she abandoned her plans for a career in medicine. And this is a self-portrait she has done. It's crazy to think that she did live in immense pain because of that injury, but she produced incredible art because she could no longer pursue her career in medicine. I love that self-portrait. In 1967, the rock band The Doors appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show for the first and last time. After singer Jim Morrison sings a lyric he said he would change. They were not invited back because of that. In 1978, the Camp David Accords, negotiated by President Jimmy Carter, were completed, leading to a peace treaty between Egypt and Israel and a broader framework for pursuing peace in the Middle East. And in 2011, singer Adele's single, Someone Like You, went #1 in the United States. For birthdays today, we have quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. He is 29 years old today. Actress Danielle Brooks is 35 years old today, and comedian Bobby Lee is 53 years old today. Happy birthday to them. A lot of successful folks. All right, moving on now. It's going to be another hot, almost autumn day. Let's turn it over to Devin Biggs for that forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. Your morning weather is brought to you by Washington County Community College in Calais. Check out the new aquaculture technology program. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, we do have some areas of dense fog greeting us this morning across parts of Washington County, a little bit up in parts of the northern parts of the state too, and also northwest. We'll lose a lot of that today as we do move forward and we get some sunshine going. For now, though, we look rather quiet out there. Not much cloud cover to be seen, but we will be watching for some more clouds that will be moving in later on today. Otherwise, the rest of the Northeast looking rather quiet, but notice the clouds here developing further down to the south, especially from this system here that will be moving in our direction, and that will allow some more clouds to move in coming up later on today. So futurecast moving forward, a lot of sunshine to start, more clouds later this afternoon, and we'll have a few clouds and some areas of dense fog on the way later on tonight. As for the winds, not too bad, roughly at around 5 to 10 miles per hour, maybe a few higher gusts at times, but no issues with the wind otherwise coming up anytime soon. Forecast for today, partly cloudy and warm, highs in the mid 80s, and that west wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Coming up for tonight, we have upper 50s, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog, with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a lot of sunshine, some clouds for the afternoon with temperatures in the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. Well, animal shelters across the Northeast are providing safety and comfort to nearly 80 shelter pets from the South in order to help a Louisiana shelter make room for the pets who have been displaced by Hurricane Francine. 6 of those dogs have landed at Paws Animal Adoption Center in Camden. According to Paws, Bissell Pet Foundation coordinated and funded the transportation of those nearly 80 pets. The pets on the flight were homeless and awaiting adoption at Jefferson Protection and Animal Welfare Services in Harvey, Louisiana, before Hurricane Francine made landfall.
This one is Spruce, and this is Elm. Everyone's behavior is great, health-wise is great. Bissell does an amazing job making sure that the animals are healthy before they come to us anyways, even on short notice.
O'Connor says those 6 dogs will be housed at Paws until they're medically cleared and are ready for adoption. However, applications are being accepted for them now, and if you'd like to learn more, visit pawscares.org. Sounds like they're really looking forward to their new home. Look at those eyes. Oh, my goodness. All right, right after the break, Tyler Cruz has our sports updates. We'll be
I'll stand up to any politician, even in my own party, who tries to cut Social Security. I put people over politics, and I always will. I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message to protect Social Security.
The all-new Santa Fe is a giant leap forward. It's incredibly tough, unbelievably big, and amazingly smart. The all-new, epically capable Hyundai Santa Fe. There's joy in every journey.
Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Santa Fe for only $279 a month, or get 2.99% APR for up to 60 months. See your local Bangor Hyundai dealer.
We are explorers, hard workers, the jack of all trades. We are Mainers. Maine Quit Link provides free nicotine quit medication, including gum, patches, and lozenges. No insurance needed, no copay, and no cost to Mainers. Because quitting tobacco with a little extra help is more successful than quitting on your own. Quit like a Mainer. Enroll online at MaineQuitLink.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
When it comes to automotive and heavy equipment repair, trust the experts at CTI Service Center, located in Old Town and Milford. CTI offers heavy-duty part sales at our Old Town location, as well as on-the-road service with our heavy-duty mobile units. CTI also offers tire sales, including mount and spin balance, as well as Old Town's only heavy-duty alignment system. CTI Service Center diagnoses issues swiftly and accurately. For reliable service and peace of mind, give us a call or visit us online at ctiservicecenter.com. CTI Service Center, simply the best.
I'll stand up to any politician, even in my own party, who tries to cut Social Security. I put people over politics, and I always will. I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message to protect Social Security.
25 words or less.
Oyster. You're so shellfish.
Every weekday
on Fox 22.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying
With us, let's start on the ice. Hockey season is now under a month away for Maine men's hockey. They open the year at the Alfond on October 5th. And on Monday, the Hockey East preseason coaches poll was released, with Maine finding themselves in the top 5. Boston College receiving 9 first-place votes. They are number 1. BU and Providence also receiving a single first-place vote. They're at 2 and 3. Maine was picked to finish 4th, just 5 points behind those Friars from Providence, with a decent drop-off between 4 and 5. UMass receiving 72 votes for 5th place. And look a little bit further down, you'll see our rivals UNH being picked to finish 7th. All right, cannot wait for hockey season to open up. Maine opens up hosting AIC at the Alfond again. That's Saturday, October 5th. Moving on now, staying with the Black Bears over to a different kind of hockey. Maine field hockey returns to Orono this weekend, looking to improve on a 4-3 record. Like we've said before, Maine has a lot of transfers and new faces on the team who have a lot of experience, whether at the collegiate level or elsewhere, and that includes their new goalkeeper, Rosarie Madazovois. Rosarie is a graduate transfer from the Czech Republic. She has a ton of experience out there, including with the Czech national team, and even played in the Indoor World Cup last year. She comes to Maine from a mutual connection, former Black Bear Teresa Holubkova, and says the full-time job of being a student athlete is something new, but she's loving it so far.
I love my new team. It's really a big opportunity for me, and I love it so far. And I also like the traveling to other states, and it's different culture. But my teammates are really awesome, so they're helping me so far, and it's really good. Yeah.
Rosarie also says she loves the overall experience of studying in the U.S. and playing field hockey at the same time. She has played in every game so far for the Black Bears. She's seen 78 shots with 35 saves and just 10 goals allowed. She got her first taste of action against number 1 Northwestern. Welcome to the league. She describes herself as a, quote, active goalkeeper, and that style of play fits perfectly with the Black Bears.
Coaches said that they like I'm a active goalkeeper, so I think that helped me like to adjust to the outdoor hockey, because I love indoor, and you can practice that at outdoor as well.
I think because we are an aggressive defending team, it can sometimes lead to those uneven situations, and you do need a goalie that's aggressive.
Moving on to the football field now, it was a pretty disappointing Week 2 showing from the New England Patriots, falling 23-20 in overtime in their home opener to the Seattle Seahawks. By all counts, it was definitely an avoidable loss for New England. They took a bad defensive pass interference penalty right here that would end up leading to a Seahawks rushing touchdown. Despite responding to that with one of their own from Ramondre Stevenson, they were not able to close out the game. A long run late in the fourth put them in field goal range, but then Jacoby Brissett took a pretty bad sack that moved them back 9 yards, and then Seattle blocked the ensuing field goal try, which all led to the overtime and eventual loss, and Gerard Mayo says it's the little things that they need to clean up.
And that's part of my message. It's all about the details. If we get the little things right, the big things will take care of themselves, and we just didn't take care of the little things, and we weren't as detailed, well, I should say, on top of our P's and Q's like we should have been, which is my responsibility. And look, I take 100% responsibility, and, you know, look, these guys, I will say this, like, this is a tough football team, no matter what's said outside this building, and I told these guys that as well. Look, we're a tough football team.
Moving on to some soccer now, and a big one on Monday, the across-the-river rivalry, this one at Hedrick Field. Beautiful night in Brewer. The girls hosting the rival Rams from Bangor. We're going to pick it up in the first half. 1-0 Bangor. Gabby Gordon with a great through ball finds Tegan Atherley. She gets a shot on net, but the Witches goalie Gabby Chassie slams the door shut. Witches with it now, looking to score. Violet Damon sends Lauren Venetestein. She's all alone with the goalie, but just misses. Great chance for the Witches. Bangor now, good ball movement. Clara Oldenburg to Atherley, and this time she would connect. 2-0 Bangor now. Rams looking for more still in the first half. Nice corner from them sent in with a great chance here, but Chassie grabs it in traffic to make the save, but Bangor was relentless on offense. Good ball movement finds Atherley again and again, all alone for her second goal of the half. Bangor wins 6-0. Their boys would also win 8-0 at home. All right, that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Maine Paving is Eastern and Central Maine's go-to for all things paving. Maine Paving specializes in commercial or residential paving, grading, seal coating, and crack filling. And get this, refer someone that schedules a job and receive a $250 Visa gift card. Currently booking for this year. I lived and worked in Maine most of my life, and now I'm getting by on Social Security. People like me are struggling to heat the house in the winter. Energy prices are out of control, and it's devastating for seniors. But Jared Golden voted for Biden and Harris's tax that raises heating prices even higher. It's outrageous. The Liberals changed Congressman Golden. He's leaving Mainers out in the cold.
Restoration PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
When you want something, you pursue it. And with vitiligo, the pursuit for your pigment is just the same. It's time you found a proven choice to help restore what's yours. Opzelura is the first and only FDA-approved prescription treatment for non-segmental vitiligo, proven to help repigment skin over time, restoring what's yours. It really is possible with a steroid-free cream that you can apply yourself.
Opzelura can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB or hepatitis B or C. Serious lung infections, skin cancer, blood clots, and low blood cell counts occurred with Opzelura. In people taking JAK inhibitors, serious infections, increased risk of death, lymphoma, other cancers, and major cardiovascular events have occurred. The most common side effects were acne and itching where applied.
Repigmentation is possible. Ask your dermatologist today about starting or refilling Opzelura. Pursue it.
Maine Paving is Eastern and Central Maine's go-to for all things paving. Maine Paving specializes in commercial or residential paving, grading, seal coating, and crack filling. And get this, refer someone that schedules a job and receive a $250 Visa gift card. Currently booking for this year.
And for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Jason Nathanson.
Jane's Addiction calling it quits for now after that onstage fight over the weekend. Frontman Perry Farrell and the rest of the band putting out separate statements. Farrell apologizing, saying his breaking point resulted in inexcusable behavior. Guitarist Dave Navarro, bassist Eric Avery, and drummer Stephen Perkins saying they've come to the decision to end the band's current tour, quote, due to a continuing pattern of behavior and mental health difficulties of our singer Perry Farrell. They say they hope he finds the help he needs. No official word from Farrell why he lashed out at Navarro on stage in Boston, hitting him and yelling at him before being restrained.
Everybody at the bar getting tipsy.
10 weeks and still tipsy, Shabuzi's a bar song, Tipsy, #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart for a 10th non-consecutive week. It's only the 45th song in the chart's 66-year history to notch 10 weeks on top.
Any minute, Julie Andrews is going to be running over that hill.
Hey, that was Austria. This is France.
Please don't kill my fantasy.
Emily's Staying in Paris, the hit Netflix show Emily in Paris, starring Lily Collins, just renewed for a season 5 on Netflix. The second half of season 4 debuted just last week. And Oscar-nominated actress Danielle Brooks with a birthday. The Color Purple star is 35 today. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, September is National Self-Improvement Month, and the folks over at the U.S. Cellular have a few tips to help you along the way. Self-improvement can come in many different forms, whether it be mental, physical, or financial. The U.S. Cellular team says no matter what your goals are, there's an app for that, and they're happy to help you find the ones best suited for you.
I think another thing that people aren't aware of is just the ways that your phone can help you kick bad habits. There's things out there to help you quit smoking or things along those lines, for an example, just as a way to improve your general health without having to know all the ways to get there. Your phone can support you in that.
And if your idea of self-improvement is spending less time on your phone, U.S. Cellular is now offering a program called Us Mode to help you disconnect from your phone and reconnect with everything else around you. I think my favorite app on my phone, it's not an app, it's just a setting, is Sleep Mode. I don't get texts. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Okay, let's transition now to get one final look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your morning weather is brought to you by Washington County Community College in Calais. Check out the new aquaculture technology program. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, here we go. Some areas of dense fog greeting us this morning across parts of Washington County. Areas further up towards the north noticing a little bit as well. And even across the northwestern parts of the state. That will be going away as we get some sunshine rolling later on today. But otherwise, so nothing too ridiculous on the way right now. A lot of clear skies. We're going to see a lot of sunshine across our neck of the woods today. Meanwhile, further down to the south, look at the system here that continues to bring a lot of showers and thunderstorms along parts of North Carolina. It's going to be sending some clouds in our direction, so we will see some increasing clouds coming up in general, coming up a little bit today and tonight, but especially as we head towards tomorrow. But otherwise, outside of that system, there's some more activity across the northern parts of the U.S. that's kind of developing right now, and some more activity tracking off towards the east. But futurecast moving forward for us, nothing too ridiculous on the way for us today. We will be under a partly cloudy sky as we get some more clouds going for the afternoon. Later on tonight, a few clouds, areas of dense fog on the way. With tomorrow, though, increasing clouds as we watch some more energy moving in as well. But despite that, we will be staying dry the entire week. There's no precipitation on the way at all. There's some clouds passing through, and that looks to be about it, especially by Thursday morning as well. Our average high temperature is 71 degrees. We'll do mid-80s today, lower 80s Wednesday and Thursday. We're back in the low 70s Friday and Saturday, with some more 60s. Here we go. Really cooling off now Sunday, and also near Monday starting to feel like fall across our neck of the woods. And the dew points will start to fall back down too. Notice though, at least through parts of Thursday, dew points will be in the 50s and 60s, but they really begin to fall Friday and beyond. So hopefully we'll be done with the muggy meter very shortly. And it's definitely starting to feel a little bit more like fall out there and look like it too. We have some areas showing some colors right now. This is according to Explore Fall, and it's showing some areas with low color right now and a few spots with a little bit more colors. So we're starting to notice some of that across our neck of the woods. So a forecast for today, middle 80s, feeling more like summer, partly cloudy and warm, and that west wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Later on tonight, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog, lows in the upper 50s with the wind overall looking nice and calm. And for tomorrow, lower 80s, increasing clouds, southwest wind getting up to around 5 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Washington County Community College, showing a mostly cloudy sky on Thursday with highs in the low 80s, lower 70s. We cool off on Friday with a mostly cloudy sky, partly cloudy Saturday with highs in the low 70s.
Driving the Nissan Rogue with Google built in is like...
Hey Google, turn on Rocky's Food.
The ultimate connection. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on the Rogue Platinum.
Mainers have been setting lobster traps for generations. But less than 2 years ago, they were this close to going out of business because of new regulations from Washington. Then Jared Golden stood up to Joe Biden and his own party to protect our way of life. Today, we are still fishing thanks to Jared. Some say Jared's gone Washington. It's true. He's gone there to tell the DC elites not to mess with us.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
When Northern Power Wash Company, located in Bangor, wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Northern Power Wash provides outstanding pressure washing, window and gutter cleaning services to Eastern and Central Maine. Call Todd at 881-3680 today for a free estimate.
Taking the time to savor Thomas's crunchy yet soft bagels.
Thanks, Tom.
It's Tom, actually.
Right, Tom.
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 You doing that on purpose?
Tam.
Tam.
How have we got to Tam? Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
First time you try Bounce, it hits you. Your laundry feels way fresher and less wrinkled. You start to wonder, if I put a sheet of Bounce on my boss, will it make his wrinkles smoother? Bounce can't do it all, but for better laundry, put a sheet on it with Bounce.
When the Coach House Restaurant wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. The Coach House Restaurant, family dining at its best with fine home-cooked meals, delicious homemade desserts, and a large menu of tasty offerings for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Driving the Nissan Rogue with Google built in is like...
Hey Google, turn on Rocky's Food.
The ultimate connection. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on the Rogue Platinum.
Julien's Auction and Warner Brothers are putting on an auction to mark the 30th anniversary of the beloved TV show Friends. It includes sweaters worn by all 5 cast members and official Warner Brothers reproduction of the Central Perk couch and sign. People are already bidding online on many of the items, and many of the items of clothing have already gone way above and beyond the estimates. That couch is very iconic, and some of those shirts are so simple, but they're also iconic for big fans of the show. And lastly now, a new generation in Hong Kong is taking up the 145-year-old fire dragon dance in Hong Kong. Having grown up watching their friends and family members doing the dragon dance, the next generation is taking over the reins. It's an event that brings onlookers out once a year to see the massive dragon parade through the streets of Hong Kong. They've even expanded the tradition to include a children's dragon so that they can participate as well. Looks like a lot of fun. I wish I could witness that. All right, looks like we're winding down now. We're about out of time. If you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com. You can get a recap of the news on our ABC News at Noon segment. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you have a great Tuesday.
Today on 25 Words or Less, it's the grand final of our Intergender Arm Wrestling Championship. These two brutes have been at it for hours. It looks like he's losing the thread. Yes, it looks like the loser is going to be Matt Eisman. Oh!